Thank you so much for listening to Roll for Focus. Don't forget to rate and review us wherever you listen. And if you want to support us more, you can subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/rollforfocuspodcast. Or if you can't afford to subscribe to us full time but still want to help, you can go to our Ko-fi and make a one-time donation. Enjoy the episode!
Hello everyone, welcome to Roll for Focus. With me I have...
Mars, pronouns he, they. I'll be playing our ever-changing fighter Rokain, he, him.
Cody, pronouns she, they. I'm playing our lovely single dad Leon and Ygin, pronouns he, him, and he is still a little grumpy.
Understandably.
Just a little.
Just a little.
Artemis, pronouns they, them. I'm playing Xelas, the tiefling sorcerer, pronouns he, him.
And I'm Emily, they, them. I play everyone else in the world, and they have lots of pronouns. They have them. Last time on Roll for Focus, the party struggled a little bit to keep their cool when it came to one Chandra Leonani, who was acting irrational, might be a word some use.
Bitchy might be another word some people use.
Plans were made, silver was found, including a big old block of it, and a plan was set that while others got ready, Ygin would spend the night at the bunker silvering weapons. And off he went, and Xelas has been taken to have a one-on-one lesson with Lexori and Rokain with Mankek. And we will start with Ygin popping into the bunker.
Kind of the minute he appears, he gives a call out for Kaxus just in case he's close enough to hear him. As much as he wants to head straight to the bunker, he doesn't want to panic Kaxus of I should be alone right now, because he didn't exactly give him a heads up that he was going to be showing up. So he probably goes to his workroom to see if he's in there first.
Yes.
Just kind of a little knock knock, Kaxus.
Yeah, you hear like something crash. And the door opens. Ygin, are you okay? I didn't feel anything.
I'm fine. I'm just here for the forge. I have about 15 hours maybe, and 8 of that I have to sleep because I promised to. So, come with me to the forge while I get the bellows running, and I can kind of explain.
Oh, okay.
With all of the Ichor infected lycanthropes, we agreed it was best if I could silver some weapons for us to fight. The crew had some that we could borrow, but it'd be better if their main weapons were silvered, and ones that Xelas, Rokain, and I are more proficient with were silvered as well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He kind of takes a breath. Once they get to the forge, he starts heating up the bellows, getting the fire running, kind of that, and then has immediately started to take off his armor so he can change. And it's just there's a lot that's happened since we left for Pazit, and I can give you the overview of it, but we do not have time right now for me to get into the nitty-gritty of all of it.
I mean, that's understandable. If you could just give me the talking points, I suppose.
Let's see. For one, the inn we stayed at in Leith is actually a magical inn. It shows up where it's supposed to be, and apparently the most important heroes of old are the only ones allowed to stay there. Inside the inn is a magical shop run by a being named Bob. He had Lucky's armor. We did not have enough to trade for it. He doesn't trade in money. He trades in memories and abilities and stories, and we didn't have anything to trade for that, but he promised he'd try to have it on hold for us the next time we showed up if we had something to trade for it. We learned a little bit about Lucky and the ancestors through that. Do not have time to go into that story.
That feels rather important to you then.
It does, but I know it will also send you into a bit of a spiral, so we need to be able to sit down for that, and we don't have time for that right now, unfortunately. Let's see, what else? Oh, yes. Rokain learned his mentor is alive.
Well, that's good.
And is the being you're most likely sensing in Mus. But
That's not good.
no, but it seems it's something that we can table for the moment. Again, don't have time to get into it all right now. Long stories.
Okay, can you at least tell me why it doesn't seem like a concern?
He's seeming to not go out of his way to either turn people or kill people, so
That's not possible.
he wants to parlay. Again, we don't have time to get into this right now. I'm sorry. Again, the whole time, just like shedding his armor, like getting his overalls pulled on, goes over to wind the bellows to get them hotter, dumps out the shit in the bag of holding that he'll need. It's just like pulling out silver and weapons and weapons and weapons and silver and silver and silver. It's like, and then when we got to Abreu, as I let you know, they have the lycanthrope infected with Icor that is turning other people into Icor-infected lycanthropes that are also thralled to him. Already got hurt. Pot is turned right now, but we got the Icor out of her, so theoretically she shouldn't be a thrall to him as well, but if you can find that remove curse scroll, we would be very appreciative. And yes, they know who the Icor-thrope is, as we've been calling it, so we need good weapons to go after him. I believe that hits on about everything for now. I'm aware, and I'm sorry. He does take a moment to finally come over and just like clap Kaxus on his shoulders, just to kind of ground him a little bit. It's like, I understand it's a lot. There's so much more to it all as well. But again, I have 15 hours to silver as many weapons as I can, get them sharp, and sleep at some point. So unfortunately, I can't sit down and go over it all with you, and I should probably stand on the stone at some point while I'm here as well.
Before you go to bed, and then maybe you could tell me a little bit before you go to bed, or is that not a good idea?
It depends which part you want more information on how much time we'll probably need to expend on it.
I will think about that.
All right.
But yes, regardless, stone before bed.
All right.
I'll make you some food. You'll be hungry after.
I appreciate you. And yes, if you could find as many remove curse scrolls as you can, that would be appreciated.
Okay.
Just kind of gives him another like double shoulder squeeze and clap clap, and then immediately goes back to starting to get the silver together to get it melted over the fire.
Amazing. And since you're dedicating a lot of time to this, it won't be a high DC, but basically I want you to roll your tools check just to see how much you can get done in the amount of time you have.
Okay.
And you can do that with advantage because you are taking the time. You're at a proper forge that you have been getting to know.
Okay. Let me double check. I do have expertise in my smith's tools. Okay.
I would hope so.
I couldn't remember if it was just proficiency or... All right, that's a 19 on the die. So where's my proficiency? So that's 6 plus 3, so 28.
Yep.
Okay. You're going to be able to get everything.
Fuck yeah.
With a 28, I had it set at a 25 for you to be able to get everything.
Damn.
This is the first time I haven't rolled like shit with my smith's tools. Thank you, new pretty dice.
Ygin just really needed to be super focused.
He's just working off all the fucking aggression with Chandra. It's just like, I'm gonna pull a Rokain and Kaxus if I'm just diving headfirst into my work. If I'm busy, I can't think about it.
Yeah. Welcome to the party. Join us, Xelas.
All right, so we leave on Ygin. Manic isn't the right word, but very aggressively.
I do want to just point out what everything constitutes.
Yeah.
I get Lexori's mace, Artie's short sword, 15 javelins, a hand axe, and Harlan's luminous war pick, Mankek's great axe, not the special great axe, but a great axe, another short sword for Rokain, and just a shit ton of bolts and arrows. I got so much silvered.
Yeah, I do feel like the thing that takes the longest to silver is probably the Harlan's war pick.
That's fair.
Just because, like, it's that thing where I imagine when you silver, like, a magical weapon, you have to be careful about how you silver it because...
To not fuck up the enchantment and make sure it still works properly. So,
Yeah.
And it would start with, like, just the very tip of the axe itself to make sure the luminescence still goes off and then just kind of go from there.
Yeah. And, like, I imagine Ygin has worked with, like, +1, +2 weapons before, so yes, those are magical, but it's not as intricate, because that's just, it beefs up damage. It's not, it does very specific enchantments.
So that and Artie's dancing short sword of making sure it's balanced properly took the most time, most likely.
Yeah.
Maybe the things you worked on last, once you've kind of gotten most of that aggression out on the normal stuff, and now you can, like, really fine focus on the magic.
Those were probably somewhere in the middle because he did want
fair.
to get their main weapons handled first.
Fair.
So it's like Lexori's mace. That's not necessarily magical. That's easy to do. And then dip a bunch of the fucking javelins and a bunch of the little arrowheads and bolt heads, and then like do the short sword. And yeah.
Is it Rokain's special short sword?
No,
he didn't want to pass
definitely
over
not.
his special short sword. So it's just a random short sword.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you mentioned possibly, I don't know if it was a joke or not.
Oh yeah, and Xelas's special dagger. I didn't write that
+1
on my
dagger.
list. Yes.
Yeah. You mentioned, I don't know if it was a joke or not, making Chandra, like, silver knuckles.
It's one of those, if there's brass knuckles in the thing, he would go out, he would dip those. He would take care of those, at least plate them. Because he's not going to leave her hanging in the wind, even if he's mad at her. And yes, she's high enough level. Her stuff's magical just by default, but...
Why not also add silver?
He's gonna go to his normal party line of, I'm doing what I can. It's available. If she chooses not to use it, that's on her.
Fair enough. Okay, so we will leave the work machine that is Ygin.
I feel like somewhere already appreciates that description.
And we will go to Xelas and Lexori. Lexori is, you don't have magic, so she is teaching you, healing magic.
Okay, I don't? What happened to me being a sorcerer?
You do not have healing magic. So she is teaching you natural ways to help. Mm-hmm. And I imagine the first bit of it is her going through identifying certain herbs and plants and food that you can find in the wild, like what you should avoid, what's good, what's poisonous, what might help someone at first, but it in the long run might hurt them. So she's just going through and she's like, and this is very particular because these two look very similar, as you can see.
Yeah, what's the difference?
Well, in effect, the difference is this one is great for headaches and long lingering pain. I've actually given Ygin a tea with these to help with his knees. Did
You just flip Cody? Okay.
I flipped him right off, yes. It's okay when I make jokes about his arthritis.
To help with his knees. However, this will kill you within a half an hour.
Yeah, that's
If you
important.
consume it, yes. If you just touch it, it will just give you a little rash.
Okay, they look very similar. What's the best way to notice the differences?
Okay, so they're very similar. If you look at this one, you see how the tint on the out of it, they can both kind of look reddish. If you look closely, this is a little more orange. You have to have a close You have to be perceptive when you're doing it.
Somewhere you hear Ygin going, okay, maybe just don't fuck with either of them, Xelas.
But also, if you take the time to look, if you look at the stems and she gestures, the healing one has a thicker stem, and the poisonous one you should never ever touch has a very thin stem.
These sound like differences that could depend on the size of the plant and the age of the plant.
Yes, but no, it's always... She kind of gestures and shows you, and you do see, it's one of those things that if you were just looking at them, you wouldn't, but you look, and there is a notable difference in the stems.
Okay.
So it's like, so it's that thing where no matter the age of the plant, the poisonous one's stem will always be quite thin.
Okay.
And no matter the age of the other plants, it might vary in how thin or how thick, but they will always be thicker. So if it has a thinner stem, leave it be. If it has a nice thick stem, pick it up.
All right.
And also, there's just the way to know, though I wouldn't recommend this, but when I was learning, it was very easy. Like I said, it won't kill you if you just touch it, just if you consume it, but you will get a very irritating rash. So if you pick something up and it gives you a rash within about 10 minutes, that's not what you want.
Don't feed that to somebody.
Yes.
Okay.
I wouldn't recommend doing it like that.
Meanwhile, Xelas like, nope, that's how I will know the difference. I will have to pick these plants up, and whichever one doesn't give me a rash is okay. Because, like, it's all well and good having these plants side by side, but if you don't have them side by side, like, thick and thin is so subjective. Red and orange is so subjective. Like, obviously, when they're side by side, yes, you can see, but when you don't have the other one to compare to, you're like,
If you don't have a deft eye from years of practice like Lexori.
Yeah.
And Lexori doesn't fully understand the young man she is talking to right now either.
She's like, yeah, if you just hone your perceptive skills and you take the time and the patience.
Nope, gonna rub it all over my body to check.
Gee, that was such a joke.
He's perceptive, yes, but
his trained eye is for treasure, not plants.
yes.
But she moves on, shows you some others, shows you even how to mix up certain teas and numbing, like, salves and ointments. That is pretty easy to do in the field. And how it is for, like, the teas are, like, yes, they basically eliminate any, like, chronic pain. Mm-hmm. Not, like, forever and ever, but it dulls it. It's just like me taking my arthritis medication.
Okay.
And so if there was any time, like, mechanically what this would do is if at any time, say, Ygin has a tweaked ankle for whatever reason, and you were, but not, like, fully sprained or broken, but it does hurt. And that would maybe give him disadvantage on certain things. He has this tea, the disadvantage is gone.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, once it wears off, that ankle's still fucked, but...
Unless I've had the chance to rest since then.
Yes. Because you're still having the effect of, like, doing whatever you're doing on a bad ankle, which might exacerbate it.
Exacerbate.
Thank you. If it's like one of those, we don't have time to rest, we don't have time, you need to be on your feet, you need to have this fight, here you go, drink this up, you might have a fully sprained ankle when it wears off.
But in the meantime, at least you're not, like, in pain while you're fighting.
Yeah.
Unless you get hurt otherwise.
Meanwhile, why is Ygin the one taking the drive-bys today?
And the numbing...
They're all from Emory, yeah. But Ygins taking the drive-bys today.
And the numbing ointments are also in the similar point of, like, say Rokain there.
Thank you.
Gets, like, stabbed in the side. It's not going to heal the damage he took from that. But while it might be like, oh, he's stabbed in the side, the pain is so much.
That reminds me, this is a question Xelas actually has for Lexori.
Yes.
We were in the mountains in Parzit, and our guide Grolin actually gave me something when I got hurt in the side, and I was like out, but it woke me up, and I was able to keep going. Do you know what that might have been? He described the taste of, because I know Grolin did it in a herbal, physical way rather than magical with his stuff. So he'd like describe the taste as far as he can remember and everything.
I have some theories, but I can't be sure if I don't. You say it's a salve, but he mixed it in with water to.
I think so. I mean, it was in the middle of a fight, so I didn't fully ask, like, how he made this all. Well, I just know I was fighting, and then all of a sudden I was knocked out. Just...
As it happens.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
But it had been attacking my side. And, like, he'll actually show his side where it has the chunk and everything, and kind of just the...
Does it still hurt?
No, actually. I've noticed, trying to raise my arm, though, it's like I've got... It doesn't hurt, but I can see, like, I can feel a little hitch.
Can I look at it?
Sure. Raise his arm and like leans over to get a better look at side.
She rolled a nat 20.
That's my girl.
So she looks at it. She's like, Xelas, you should be in extreme pain. You haven't taken anything like the numbing creams I've shown you, or tea or anything like that?
No, not since Grolin gave me. I mean, Kaxus healed me a little bit, but that was more magical.
No, an injury like this, the pain would persist even if the damage has been healed.
Really?
Can I try something?
Sure.
She takes out a dagger and it's like, I'm just going to cut your palm.
I'm just gonna flay you gently.
She's like, but she's very she's not like doing this without thought. She's like, I have a theory and I don't want to pose it to you until I have some evidence of my own.
And that requires cutting my hand.
Yes.
Okay.
She
hand.
She very gently cuts your hand. You feel that twinge, but not real pain from it. Mm-hmm. And as usual, it doesn't seem to flow with the blood that it normally does. And she kind of...
Yeah, he just kind of blinks and looks at his hand and looks at her.
That didn't hurt?
Not really, no.
Kind of just very gently over the side again in a way that like a doctor would touch your injury, but it would still hurt, and you don't feel that. And then she's like, but you're having the symptom of a limited range of movement. Xelas, I don't mean to alarm you.
Uh-huh.
But it seems like you're not properly experiencing pain.
Looks at hand again. Yeah, I feel like that should have hurt more. I've cut my hand before.
Yeah.
Gears are turning.
Finally, maybe I didn't just knock my head on the concrete.
I mean, yes, but also no. Yes.
But yes,
and that should be bleeding more.
It should be bleeding more. The where I cut it is,
like I said, I've cut my hand before diving and stuff.
Yeah,
and
it's not a serious cut, but it should be welling with more blood. It should be more painful. And even once, if I heal it, which I will do.
Thank you.
Yeah, she does a little healing word. But there should still, even after I heal it, be a sting.
On the hand?
Yeah, only for a little bit.
I'll
Because
poke his hand.
yeah, it's the healing magic eases pain. It does that, but for serious things, especially for something like that should be a lifelong pain you have.
Looks at side again.
That's like, I've healed people who have chronic illnesses, who have chronic pain, and it can help them in that moment, but they still have that pain. That should be an everlasting injury with how that is. Which it might scar forever, but the fact that you won't...
Yeah. I'm sure it's going to.
You should be doing exercises and stuff to get your range of movement back.
Oh, what exercises should I be doing?
I'll teach you that, but I'm saying, Xelas, you don't feel pain like other people could, or how you once did, even.
Huh. I mean, like, I can still feel stuff, but I guess, because... he's like processing this, like, yes, this is weird, but I don't feel pain, and I used to feel pain, sort of thing. So, it's one of those things, like, I have experienced pain, and I know pain, so, like, it's just now kind of noticing I guess that's true. I have not really noticed, because everything else,
And if that's the case, that means you have to be particularly careful in fights. If you can't feel pain normally, how will you know when something serious is happening to you?
Oh. Well, I didn't think about that.
Yes, it might seem like a bit of a boon at first, but...
Finally.
It might seem like a bit of a boon at first, but it could also be very dangerous. If you don't know you're on the brink of death, how can you ask for help?
Oh. Oh, Kaxus said one time it felt like I was not doing good, and at the time it was like, no, I was fine. So then Kaxus thought maybe he was not getting the right feelings. He's thinking back to that, and then also the fight with the Hydra Day, trying to like recall in the moment of the Hydra Day, like, yeah, when I was fighting the creature that was in the mountains, infecting the mountains, like I know I had been, it got me in the side, kept getting me in the side, and I wasn't really paying attention, but like I was still going, and then like I said, all of a sudden I was just out. I don't know, just like 1 second I'm awake, and the next second I'm in water. I can just vaguely hear sounds of fighting still happening, but I wasn't awake anymore. So I guess maybe, yeah, if I hadn't realized, it was just out.
Yes.
Okay.
Obviously, you still feel things, like you said. It's not a complete absence of feeling or even pain. But if you think getting stabbed in the gut is just a little knife wound, just, 'tis but a flesh wound, per se. If you think that, and what if actually it hit something very vital and you will bleed out?
I wasn't bleeding very much.
No. And that's also... I'm not quite sure I can explain the why. I've seen people who maybe feel pain less or don't feel it at all.
I mean, like, I felt the dagger and everything, and like there was a little bit of pain, but like not what I would think a dagger being across my hand would feel like.
Yes, because I didn't do it brutally, but it was a deeper cut.
Really? I couldn't tell. It wasn't bleeding that much.
Exactly.
You're like, wait.
That was the theory, but I didn't want to tell you this because it can be quite concerning. And I knew I could heal it instantly if it was too deep and bled too much, but...
But why wouldn't I be bleeding?
That is a little more rare, I'll admit. I've met a person or two. You said you're a sorcerer?
Now, apparently.
Well, sometimes sorcerers can have interesting... They're born with their magic, so it's sometimes almost like a...
But I mean, like, this wasn't always like this.
No, I know that, but a lot of sorcerers can have things that they're just born with. Think of it like a birthmark, but sometimes a lot more physical. Like, draconic sorcerers are born with a physical representation of their abilities, but there are other sorcerers that their pupils might be different. They might have an ever-present smell about them. They might have an aura about them that is noticeable. Perhaps your lack of bleeding, and maybe even your lack of pain, is tied to that. That's the only thing that's changed for you, yes?
Well, I mean, lots of things have changed, but I guess physically wise now, I guess.
That's the only conclusion, and unfortunately, without a full exam, which we really don't have time for, that's the best guess I can do.
Okay. Well, thank you. As I drop my pencil. I hadn't realized that. I hadn't really even thought about it, honestly.
Yes. If you're okay with this, I am going to share this information with Ygin. I think it's important.
Oh, yeah. No, I think we need to tell them.
Yeah, Ygin and Rokain should definitely know so they can keep an eye on things.
Yeah.
If you can't feel the pain, they need to
Well, I mean, they can't.
observe the pain.
Okay. Yeah. I was about to say they can't feel it.
No, I know. I'm just happy I could help.
Mm-hmm. No, I appreciate it. Thank you. It's still definitely a very much like, processing. Like that meme of the woman with all the symbols
math,
and
yeah.
everything. Like, wait.
When Lexori says it, you'll take it as true.
She's a professional.
It's the difference between Google MD and the doctor. Yeah.
She's a professional adventurer and a very good cleric. Like, yes.
Who has also taken the time that not all clerics do to be proficient in practical medicine as well. Mm-hmm. But she goes, but yes. And she kind of goes back to, like, finishing up. She doesn't want to make it a big deal. She knows this is, like, a revelation and you might have to do that. And then eventually she sort of packs up a little kit and she gives it to you. You officially have a med kit.
Is that an herbalist kit?
Basically.
Okay. I need to know how to write it down. Just double checking. Cool.
But
Thank
the
you.
herbalist kit is specifically for medicinal purposes, why I called it a med kit, not just an herbalist, because herbalist kits can also be, like, poison related.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah. So it is
What
mechanically...
is poison if medicine not used incorrectly?
Yeah, and you can learn a little about poison, but everything she put in there, unless you gather more things yourself, is medicinal.
Okay, so it's basically almost a first aid kit. Like she put bandages and stuff in there too.
Yeah, there's bandages.
There's just little drawstring baggies of this is some not paralytic, but the numbing agent. Just mix it with some water. This one's this. Just mix it with some water. Ground this one into a paste.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's probably some even, like, complete things just that you guys made in her example. So there's, like, a little vial of the tea that probably wouldn't last very long because it's a very small amount, but...
It's also tea. I don't know how bad it'll go,
Yeah. And then, like, a little tube of, like, the numbing ointment she told you about.
Cool. Thank you. I think that's going to be really helpful.
Yes.
We've been getting some healing potions, but, not all the time.
And this is a much easily renewable resource than having to constantly buy healing potions.
Yeah, as long as I find the right plants, but yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm glad I could help.
He's very appreciative.
Yeah. She kind of gestures like, "Can I give you a hug?"
Oh yeah, he'll give her a hug.
She gives you a hug, and I think that's where we'll go to our break. Bye.
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 Hey guys, we wouldn't be able to do this podcast without the support of our listeners. If you'd like to support us even more, you should head over to Patreon and check us out there at Patreon/Roll4Focus podcast. You'll get all kinds of cool stuff like our Hyperfocus episodes that release on our off weeks, where we talk about the episode and our thoughts and predictions about the future of the show. Us playing games in and out of character. You can suggest an NPC or a magic item for Emery to give us in the world. There's some fun canon-adjacent shenanigans and backstory info you can find. And we have 2 mini-campaigns running. For patients and higher tiers, we have our first side tangent campaign called The Pilgrimage. Emery and I are running a Tales of the Valiant game where a beastkin war cleric of the trickster god Nakresh is on her very first official pilgrimage. What could go wrong? And Play to Your U tier gets our first off-topic campaign called Clean Slate. It's a quote-unquote blank sheet D&D campaign. What does that mean? You'll have to listen to find out. And we're enacting our very first Patreon stretch goal. When we get to 50 paid tier patrons, Emery is going to run a one-shot where we play a group of adventurers that run into the ancestors before they became the world-saving heroes we know now. Even more fun, patrons will be able to pitch character concepts we'll choose from to build our one-shot characters. You can join for as little as $1 a month, and every dollar we make goes right back into producing our podcast with the hopes we can improve and make it everything our listeners deserve. Thanks!
Welcome back. We hope you had a fantastic break. Rokain,
Yes.
I'm just gonna tell you, you've been training with Mankek for a bit. You are getting your ass handed to you.
Okay.
Yeah, not like he's not like overly hurting you. It's just
He's not being paid to be nice.
He's not hurting you. He's not trying. It's like you come at him to do that, and he blocks you like it's nothing. He's basically saying, "Hey, fight how you normally fight. Don't worry, I can handle myself. Don't hold back." So you're doing that, and I imagine. Tell me if I'm wrong. Rokain is getting more and more frustrated the more Mankek just
absolutely
bats you off like a fucking fly.
Rokain knows that he is garbage when it comes to hitting things, but like it's still it gets annoying. He gets pissed off real quick. It's not like it took 30 minutes and now he's starting to get annoyed. It's been like 5.
Yeah. So eventually, I think after a move happens where you tried to be like, okay, he'll never see this coming, and then he just blocked you, no problem, and knocked you to the ground. Not hard, but like your butt hurts now.
And you are butthurt. Oh.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he looks at you and goes, okay, I know what we need to work on.
I'm just wondering if he's pissed off enough to use like an ability or something.
Don't hurt my friend, please.
No.
Especially because he has not hurt you.
No. It's again like his shield sphere effect or something. Not like, I know you can't block this. Let me use fucking...
Shell-shocked?
No, because that requires him hitting me. It would be more so the...
Revenge?
No, that still also requires getting hit. The Spirit Guardians of, you can't block this, bitch! Icor powers, go!
Icor powers, activate!
But no. It's just, I think a lot of it is he's trying, like, the professional, like, feints and what he was taught. And, like, yes, he's an adventurer, but I've had proper training. I should be better at this.
Mankek just kind of sits down, looks at you and goes, whoever trained you gave you flawless technique. But all the technique in the world doesn't much matter if you can't adapt and think clearly in the moment.
He wants to like snap back, but like, damn, he's right. like there's the fact of like, I think at the moment it's not my fault other people, ruin my plan.
There's literally only 2 of us here right now.
And then he's like, wait, no.
But he also did just have that revelation of like, oh my god, am I like Chandra?
Yeah, so there's that like moment of then it's just like, damn it, he's right. And so like he just bites his tongue. Like there's no snap back or reaction. Well, there's a reaction, just not.
So we're going to work on. I can see your brain working. What the more upset you got, the less your brain worked, to be honest. But I could see your mind working, thinking of plans. But when those plans didn't work, you got frustrated. You need to learn to be adaptable. As a fighter, that's what we need to be. It's not about just hitting things good. It's about knowing where to hit, when to hit, how to maneuver. And if your plan gets fucked up, you make a new one in 5 seconds. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes.
So we're going to work on that a bit. There's also a technique that is quite hard to teach, especially in such a short amount of time, but that I can at least start you on your way with it if you'd like.
Okay. Okay.
Nods and offers you a hand up.
Oh, okay, yeah, he's just on the ground still. I was like,
You
okay,
didn't say he got
handshake.
You didn't say he got up, and
No.
Mankek sat down, so...
Yeah, so there's that hesitation for a moment. It's like, I can do it myself, but then he'll take the hand.
Now, ideally, I would try and train all 3 of you, so you could get... I know my team very well. I know how they behave in battle. I know their strengths, their weaknesses, their annoying tics. I know them. And Rokain, knowing your team is a good way to be able to be adaptable. I've worked with Artie for many years. I know if I make a plan, the odds are in 5 seconds, Artie will ruin that plan.
I know someone like that.
So, that is why when it comes to a plan that depends on Artie's positioning or anything about Artie, I also in that moment make a second plan. That way I'm not struggling to think. Because I know Artie. I know that she's going to ruin the plan. It's probably going to work out great, which is even more annoying, frankly. But I now have a backup plan, so it's not as if Artie doing what she did made it impossible for me to do something.
Just what's the point of making a plan if it just falls through at the beginning?
The point of a plan that ultimately fails is you learn from that plan. After the battle, you can sit down, you can think of that plan, you can think if everything had gone right and that plan worked, would it have ultimately been more effective of what actually happened? Sometimes the answer is yes, and that's a shame, but that means it's a plan that can be filed away for later use, even if you have to adjust it. Sometimes the answer is, no, that wasn't as good of a plan as I thought it would be. And you learn in that moment what works and doesn't work with your team specifically. Near the beginning, when Raiden first joined up, I made plans that if it wasn't for anyone but Raiden, they would have been great plans. But knowing how Raiden fights, how he operates, knowing sometimes his sorcerer powers can get a bit out of his control, I was able to adjust that plan. It's not that it was a bad plan, it's just that it's ill-fitting for the situation and my companions. You make a plan because you should always have a plan. But you don't not make a plan just because you're 90% sure that it will get tossed in the trash. Because with the work we do, Rokain, the plan never goes off exactly as it should. Things never go perfectly. Even if it's not your companions doing something, the enemy can surprise you.
Yes, I come up with a plan because I can't hit anything, so it's people need to stick near me so I can at least protect them, because that's all I'm good at for some reason. Obviously not because, I'm missing an eye or something. Like, I had all these capabilities being able to understand how to fight and hit things, but now that I'm missing my eye, it's just like I can't hit for any damned reason, and here I am just only good at blocking with a shield now, and then, off goes running the little sorcerer down under the water where I can't do anything for. So what's the point of making a plan? What's the point of creating a new plan whenever all I can do is just sit there and watch?
Mankek nods, thinks on it a moment, then goes, kind of looks at you. You see that he seems to think of something he didn't think of before, because he didn't know you before, so he was just like, okay, when did you lose your eye?
When all this started, back when they first attacked.
So it's only been a few months.
I guess, yeah.
Okay, no wonder you can't hit anything. You can't see anything.
Obviously. He's a little more pissed off about his eye than...
Rokain, you are still fighting as someone with 2 working pairs of eyes.
2 pairs?
I got your other pair, bitch!
2 working pairs!
Sorry. Anyway, I'll redo that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's just...
Rokain, you are still fighting like someone who has 2 functioning eyes. Now, being deprived of a sense does not mean that you cannot fight. It just means you have to learn to adjust. I have fought when I cannot hear anything, when I cannot see anything. I have fought when I can't trust my own senses. And I was able to do that over a very long period of time, learning. You know that your sight is something that will always be an issue. You need to embrace that and make it work for you. You don't have the field of vision you once did. You don't have the perception you once did. It's unfortunate, but it's not something you can't work with. I imagine all this time you've been fighting at a disadvantage.
Mechanically, no, not really. I'm just a really bad roller when it comes to hitting.
You just roll like shit.
So, and I could even see it in the way you attacked me. Now some of the ways you attacked makes sense. You weren't accounting for your eye because you haven't been trained in how to do that. So you and I are going to work on that.
Dusts himself off. Fucking gets ready for, I guess, round 2, if that's what's happening.
Round 2. But yeah, I think realizing what your issue is and how much you need to adjust to this. If you let Mankek, he will keep you until it's time to go to bed. Just training.
I would say unless he gets pulled away by someone else or something else, I don't think there's much thought behind he needs to get better. Yes.
I had a question too. Are you using your short sword or your spear? Because we know you're not as good at your spear.
He is mainly using that, and again, even with the short sword, he still has a hard time hitting.
Yes, but we know with your spear it's even worse because you're not used to it. So
Yeah.
I think
maybe
he
Mankek
definitely
can help
does
you with your spear too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll
just
say
other
in
weapons.
Mankek fighter style of, oh, well, you have all these weapons you're trying to use. We're going to touch on all of them, but also your just base level how to fight needs touched up.
Yeah,
That's-
it's just the whole, basics need to be worked on.
Yeah.
We're starting from basic move from this position to this position. We're not even handling weapons right now while we handle your eyesight thing.
That's fair.
But yeah, there definitely is mentions of you need to also train with other weapons. You've been trained in all weapons, but they haven't been your favored weapons. And he's like, I always fight with my axe, but if I need to, I have so many weapons.
I was gonna say, isn't there a halberd or something like that has the silver?
We got
Glaive.
a silvered glaive.
glaive.
Yes.
That's what it was. That was the other option for me.
Yeah. But yeah, you just train into the night. It's rough. You're gonna sleep, meditate, trance so easy
Now,
tonight.
first time he actually falls asleep. He's just so
Unprecedented.
exhausted. Sleeps whole 8 hours.
I'm sorry, we want to give you a physical in the morning if that happens. Oh, I just realized if Chandra stays, you'll be the only one up and about with her because she's also only a 4-hour meditation.
There is a chance for that, and if it happens, it happens.
Yeah, that's what Rokain's doing until the day ends. After her talk with Xelas, Lexori did mention to Xelas that Raiden would probably be someone really good to speak with, but he's kind of in a funky place right now. But she's happy to work on other things, even if it's not. It's that thing of I'm not a sorcerer, but I also have magic.
Yeah.
So I can work with you just in some basic magic practice and see what you can do and give you tips. Mm-hmm. So if you're for that, that's probably what you spend until dinner-ish doing.
Yeah, Xelas is fine with that. He's not going to turn down more lessons to learn. And it's one of those things yes, Raiden probably would, but he also, is aware Raiden's a little in a wonky spot. So I don't know if he'd necessarily go up and ask, especially if Lexori's already over there just offering.
Yeah. So yeah, Lexori does that. Just shows you hey, when you're trying to cast a spell, it's actually really smart to kind of cast it, move, and, readjust your angle because now they expect it from there. She also teaches you the value. She's like, now I usually rely on my magic, but... And then she goes to, take her mate, and she's like, I don't have that right now. But she's like, don't be afraid to utilize your weapons with your magic.
Oh, yeah, no, I've used the dagger a couple times.
Yes. Especially when you're nearly out of everything.
Yeah.
I know Vaden really likes to use his bow. Because from what I can understand, he's not exactly as constitutional as the rest of us. And it's his way to be able to preserve magic while staying away. So if you practice with your bow a bit more, perhaps that will help when you get low on magic.
Maybe. I haven't really used that one as much. Seems like been more so closer than bow range a lot of the times.
Understandable. And I say this with affection. You seem like the sort of spellcaster who likes to get right up on the enemy, and that sometimes perhaps is not the best move. So maybe just think before you rush in if it's strategic to be closer given your abilities.
All right. He's like, okay. Pondering on that. Not sure how well going to follow through on that.
No, that's fair. Pondering. It's just she's kind of being like, hey, as a spellcaster, we don't need to be up close and personal, and sometimes it's better that we aren't. Especially her as the healer. It's like, if I go down...
Yeah.
And it's like, you're not as much good to people if you're down.
Yeah. I don't know, just sometimes standing at a distance, it just feels like
you're not doing as much.
Yeah.
I understand
and
that.
Everybody else is getting hurt instead.
No, I understand that. That took me a very long time to feel all right with. It'll take time, but ultimately, we're helping just as much as the people who are face to face with what we're fighting. And think of it this way. I know you don't have the healing abilities I do, but if Ygin and Rokain are both up close to the monster, and you're far away, and they both go down, which would be awful, but they both go down, you're not immediately going to go down after them because you have distance. You have that opportunity to be able to run up, give them a potion, give them some sort of treatment, and you wouldn't be able to do that if you were fighting for your life to stay up.
That's true, yes. It's still just hard, the idea of letting them get hurt while I'm just not.
I completely understand. It can feel... Seeing something very painful happen to my friends, and it almost feels like you're trying to stay out of it. I feel like, well, if I don't get hurt, but... Again, I know it's a little different for me having my healing abilities, but that's why I gave you... I don't like that one of my best friends is risking his life with nobody who has the capability to heal. So it's not the only reason I gave you the kit, but it's a big reason. Your team... She doesn't know, Rokain. It's a big reason.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's, definitely, I think, an area we're not super strong in with healing. Yes. Because it doesn't seem to be what our abilities focus on.
But yeah, I think after that, she just goes back to kind of teaching you. I think she focuses on teaching you, when a situation calls for you to go close and get up and personal. And it's that thing of, she's not telling you never get close. It's just, try and be a little more strategic. Both the children are learning about strategy.
Yeah, it's a let it be a mindful choice, not
Yeah.
just head first, eyes closed, dive in. Be like, I am going to put myself in danger. Okay, good, go.
It's one of those things too. Like I think Rokain was trying to teach Xelas that, but they don't. They
But
butt heads a little bit.
Rokain does it from a place of I know better than you, so listen to me.
Lexori does it in...
I get where you're coming from. Let me gentle parent you into thinking it's your idea. A little bit.
Yeah. But it's
Not
also,
just try to beat it into your head like Rokain does.
yeah, but it's also the fact too that Lexori uses magic as well,
No,
so
yeah.
she's in a more similar boat to Xelas than Rokain is. Like Xelas can't really say, but it feels like I'm just standing back here and y'all are getting hurt, and Rokain's response will be like, "Yeah, that's the point," versus she was like, "Yeah, it sucks, but
Sometimes this helps your party more than being up there, Will.
yeah."
Xelas needs more carrot than stick when it comes to teaching him. Rokain only has a stick.
There's no carrot attached to Rokain's stick. It's just listen. Beat you with a stick.
And
Magic
Rokain,
makes Xelas more stubborn.
and Rokain is getting the stick, but not in the way he gives the stick for
Yeah,
Mankek.
it's a guiding stick. It's not a whipping stick.
He's getting the stick, but not in the way he gives the stick.
Yeah, that's 2 on the bingo list already.
Look, sometimes
Maybe
your
3.
doming and your subbing habits are very different, okay? Love you. I didn't do it this time. Just once
It
everyone
was just
broke,
both
I
of
carried it
them.
further. But yes, it's more of a guiding stick, like you do with a horse to a degree of
Yeah.
tap you this way to make you go this way, tap you that way to make you go that way.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what you guys do. And then you have dinner that is good and filling, but not anywhere near as good as Kaxus's.
Nobody's ever as good as Kaxus with food.
Rokain is probably super sore and exhausted.
Just that
Probably.
ow, 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 ow. Ow, 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 ow.
I will say, your little buddy is right by you when you come back inside.
Pats his head.
Lincoln.
Xelas is going to say something to Rokain.
He's gonna be so muted.
It's just sort of like, I've got something I don't need to tell both you and Ygin whenever Ygin comes back. Like, sorry, found out something about me.
Okay, that sounds okay.
You're looking at okay, he's so exhausted.
All these bruises and stuff.
Yeah, none of the usual, like, stick straight spine.
He's like-
he's just like,
It's like, yeah,
slumped
no, this-
over.
probably could just tell him right now, but no, you should go to sleep.
That's the plan. But if it doesn't work, there's gonna be a backup plan.
I mean, like, sorry could also help a little bit with the... She gave me a med kit, but I don't think I should use that right now
That
for this.
could
Sorry.
be the backup plan. Yep.
Med kit?
Sure. First plan's first. If it falls
Sure,
through, then
there's
the
some
second
fucking
plan.
sleepy time tea in there.
I just meant that, like, it's not very big, so, like, save it for actual fights.
It's okay, Xelas, really. I'm probably just gonna go to bed after this.
But like I said, like, sorry could help too. So you,
If it's needed, yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Meanwhile, Rokain gets on bed and instantly trances.
Gone. Solid 4 hours.
Yeah. Uninterrupted. But yeah, Xelas will roll into his own bed and just clunk out probably.
And then we go back to the bunker where Ygin is having a nice hearty meal. And Kaxus is eating with you, but also you can tell there's now and then he'll like put the spoon up and he'll be like, And then look down and eat. It's like, because you're also tired. Mm-hmm. You did so much.
After being emotionally drained, yes.
Yeah. And so he wants to ask you about all the things you said, but I think when he finally talks, and Ygин's aware, but Ygин's not.
Yeah, it's one of those, I'm not going to be like, yes, what's, it's just kind of letting Kaxus kind of make his decision. We'll probably have like normal conversation with him, but
I do think eventually Kaxus opens his mouth and he says something, and it might be, you might assume it'll be like, okay, tell me about this, tell me about that, but what he says is, are you doing okay after seeing Chandra?
It doesn't take him by complete surprise, because they have had that bond of you can lean on me, you can lean on me too. Like, they've had that conversation. Mm-hmm. He's a little more surprised. Surprised is the wrong word. I guess it's more touched that Kaxus cares more about checking in with him than being like, okay, you gave me so much new information, and is like vibrating, needing to have all of it. So Ygin probably just lets out this really heavy sigh, puts off answering by taking a drink, and it's like, I'm about as well as one can expect from it, but she's in a particular mood with everything.
From what we've talked about, it sounds like she's always in some sort of mood, so that wording concerns me somewhat.
She never likes not being the one with all the answers. And I can't put words in her mouth, but I feel like it's along the lines of, I'm not just an amateur in the field, I am a novice in the field, and I'm trying to tell her how to do her job, and she doesn't take too kindly to that. Mixed with the fact that one of her own friends nearly died, it put her on a spiral that she doesn't have. She chooses not to have the support system to come back from. But that leads to her dehumanizing a victim and hurting her own team in her anger. Added to the fact we were butting heads quite a bit before she left again.
Kaxus frowns. Well, from everything you've said about her, I gathered that she has a problem with pride.
That's putting it mildly.
And if she was... You've also said that she's not... You haven't said it outright, but... And tell me if I'm wrong, obviously. But the way you've described her is not so much that she doesn't feel deeply, it's that she tries to not feel as deeply as she does.
I don't know how she is now. Before, yes, she felt everything to her core. I don't know how much she has numbed herself to it, or how much that numbing to it is a mask.
So the fear of losing someone that she may not outwardly call friend has exacerbated her issue with pride.
And losing a fight in general never sits well with her. So those things coupled together, put her on that spiral. But it's not every day she lashes out at even Raiden.
At Raiden?
At Raiden.
From what you've told me.
He worships the ground she walks on. It's one of the reasons he's her favorite.
Then why would... Did she just yell?
I don't know the exact what happened. I just know when we came back down from our room, he had his hood up, and from what I could gather from Lexori, she physically lashed out at him.
Oh.
I don't know the extent of it, but I have to imagine it was something along the lines of, with the state she's in, she felt like she was undermined again of, hey, maybe listen to Ygin and his friends. But I can't make that call for sure because I don't know what happened.
I don't mean to tie everything back to it, but from what you've told me, she's not violent with her team, usually, at least not physically. Could she have been infected?
We haven't written off the possibility. And if she allows it, we're going to try to use a gauntlet on her if we can. But
I think it's scarier if she isn't.
It is. And I genuinely don't know if I want her to be infected or not right now. He kind of gives a defeated sigh, because again, he has been emotionally harangued today. And then all the physical labor on top of it. He is just spent right now, frankly.
Yeah. I think Kaxus stands up, leaves his food, comes over to the other side. Because I imagine you were sitting
sitting across from each other.
Sits next to you and puts an arm around you and just doesn't say anything, is just there.
A small smile does pull at Ygин's face, and he does lean into Kaxus' side, and it classic kind of like pulls his own arm up around him, just a silent appreciation for the support.
I'm going to make you a cupcake.
Ygin does give a surprised laugh at that. It's short. It's more of a bark of a sound than anything. But he's just, thank you, Kaxus.
And then we can stand on the step.
All right.
And I think that is where we'll end our session. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you had just as much fun listening as we had playing. And remember,
Play to your you. Bye.
Hey guys, if you're a fan of all things TTRPG related, which I know you are because you're listening to us, you should go check out Crescent Moon Alchemy Co. Michaela and Ryan put all their love into their products, and a portion of each order goes to help support green initiatives. They've got a bunch of cool stuff like potion bottle dice rollers, fidgets, shirts, mugs, and an amazing backpack with more than enough room for all your adventuring gear, and so much more. We're super excited to be ambassadors for them. So go to crescentmoonalchemyco.com/RFF15 and use code RFF15 for 15% off your first order. Do you want a shirt or a poster with your favorite Ouroboros boy on it? Maybe a mug with the Ouroboros symbol? Your very own special depression blanket? Maybe a journal with Thiel's Magpie Shop logo? We have all of that and so much more in our merch store. You can find it at ttrpgswag.com/pages/roll4focus. 50% of all profits go straight to us, and 50% go to TTRPG Swag for hosting and helping. Make sure to check it out. Thank you for listening to Roll for Focus. Make sure to rate and review wherever you listen. Episodes are edited and transcribed by the Roll for Focus team. Character art is by Miejik. She can be found at linktree/Miejik. That's MEDEKH. Intro-outro music is The Last Dragon by Alex Bass. Background music is by Christopher Gallivan. You can follow all our socials, which can be found on our website, rollforfocus.com, or in our link tree. If you want to do more to support us, you can make donations at our Ko-fi or subscribe to our Patreon for as little as $1 a month for all sorts of goodies like access to character sheets, games in and out of character, mini campaigns, shoutouts at the end of the episodes, and more.
Hey everyone, thank you all so much for all the support you give. We especially want to thank our patrons, like those who have found enlightenment and know that it's best to play to your you, like Luchik and MN House of Cats. Thank you guys so much. We couldn't do this without you.
I'm glad you made the "'tis but a flesh wound" comment, because I was going to.
See, I just had Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I was lightly stabbed in my head. You were stabbed lightly.
The doctor said all the blood's on the inside.
That's where it's supposed to be.
Do you have any ibuprofen?
The doctor said the bleeding was internal.